So I'm trying to 100% my Steam library, and I am currently working my way through the BioShock franchise. In my last video, I got all the achievements in the original game and its DLC, so now we're on to BioShock 2. There are a total of 53 achievements in the remastered version, and it's estimated to take an entire day of my life to get them all. As you can probably imagine, the achievements are quite similar to the first games, but luckily there's only 2 difficulty-related achievements this time around. One for beating the game on the hardest difficulty, and another for beating it without Vita Chambers. Now, since these are separate achievements, the intelligent thing would be to do one playthrough on easy without using Vita Chambers, and then a second playthrough on the hardest difficulty. But since it takes me a millennia to edit these videos, I'm gonna try to do it all in one. If you're enjoying these videos or at all interested in seeing me suffer through my Steam library, consider subscribing to see what stupid game or series I put myself through next. The game starts us in a cutscene from the past where we find out that we're playing as a Big Daddy. We're taking care of our little sister, whose name is Eleanor, when a group of people start to harass her for Adam. After Goomba stomping the absolute shit out of one of them, we get hit with a mind-controlled Pokeball, and a woman named Sophia Lamb tells us to remove our helmet and ride the sewer slide.
Kurt Cobain POV.
Finally awake.
10 years go by, and we somehow wake back up, and after wandering around for a bit, we find our first audio diary.
What the fuck?
Unfortunately, these are still in the game, and there is an achievement for collecting them, but luckily we only need to find 100 out of the 129 to get the achievement. We then come across a Gatherer's Garden machine that has a familiar looking bottle in it. Turns out that we are still connected to Eleanor, and she's been leaving us small gifts throughout Rapture. After we get the Electrobolt Plasmid, a little sister tells us that Eleanor needs our help, and we then witness the most effective kidnapping I've ever seen. What we just saw was a big sister. These are new enemies that are kind of similar to spider splicers, but much more terrifying. We start fighting one, but the glass ends up breaking and floods the building that we're in. But since we're a Big Daddy, we can walk along the ocean floor to get to the next section of the game and get our first achievement. In the next area, we immediately get introduced to the hacking minigame, which has changed a lot from the last game. There is now a hacking gun that allows you to hack things from a distance, and instead of a glorified mobile game, it's more similar to the Dead by Daylight generator mechanic. You have to time the needle to hit the green spaces while they get harder and faster every time.
That's what she said!
Like before, there are a few achievements for hacking stuff throughout the game, and we do get one of them for completing our first distance hack. In this section, we start to hear from Tannenbaum, who was the woman in the first game with the dungeon full of children. She tells us that Sophia Lamb is aware that we're awake, and we need to rescue Eleanor before it's too late. To do that, we need to take the Atlantic Express to Fontaine Futuristics, which is on the other side of Rapture. But before we can get on the train, Lamb sends a wave of splicers at us, and we get another achievement for clearing them out. Also, partway through this section, I was able to pick up an achievement for catching an enemy's projectile and killing him with it using the telekinesis plasmid. Turns out a portion of the track is frozen, so we have to take a detour into Ryan Amusements to find something to clear the path. This area is an amusement park built to glaze Andrew Ryan in the construction of Rapture, so I saw it as a less scary version of Disney World because there aren't 30-year-olds running around looking for hidden Mickeys. Yeah! It's at this point that a guy named Sinclair starts popping up on the radio acting as this game's Atlas. He leads us to our first Big Daddy in order to collect Adam, but there is a new way to do it. Instead of just harvesting or rescuing the little sister right away, you can actually adopt them.
Okay, Nemi? What? Am I adopted?
They'll lead you to a body, and once she starts collecting Adam, a little tower defense minigame will start, which is actually pretty cool. After a couple bodies, you do also have the choice to rescue or harvest them like before, but in order to get all the achievements, we do have to rescue them all. Using our newly acquired Adam, we purchased the incinerator plasmid to clear the ice, but Lamb sends another big sister at us. This enemy, especially in hard mode, is super difficult to go against. It has this lunge attack that takes 3/4 of your health, so if you don't have at least 3 first aid kits on you, you're most likely gonna get clapped. But once it's dead, we do get another achievement. Before heading back to the train, I was able to get an achievement for hacking one of every machine, finding a power to the people station and upgrading our first weapon, buying a plasmid slot, and another for paying respects to the founder of Rapture. I also wanted to mention that I got scammed by a fortune teller.
I don't think so.
Then once we clear the ice and take out some splicers, we rescue Sinclair and get another achievement so we can continue on our journey. Our next stop is a place called Pauper's Drop that's run by a woman named Grace Holloway. She shuts down the rail system, so in order to move on, we need to get her keycard. There's a new enemy type introduced called a Brute Splicer, and it's here that the game reintroduces us to the research camera. It is, however, a little different. You pick a target and record yourself killing the enemy to get the research, kind of like a body cam. Luckily, there's only a handful of achievements tied to the research camera, with one of them being completing your first research. While tracking Grace down, I got a few achievements. One for fully upgrading a weapon, one for killing 3 big daddies without dying, another for maxing out a research track, and for not letting a little sister take any damage while collecting Adam. Once we find Grace at the top of the Sinclair Hotel, you're given the option to kill or save her. Now, throughout the game, you will come across 3 NPCs that will give you this choice, and in order to get the Savior achievement, you need to not only rescue all the little sisters, but also spare the lives of all the NPCs. Once we take the keycard and walk away, we get another achievement for confronting her, and we head off to the next stop. On our way to a place called Dionysus Park, a man named Simon Wells shoots a missile at the train, which knocks us down to the ocean floor. From here, we're forced to enter an area called Siren's Alley and find a way back to Sinclair in the train. This level doesn't really have much going on in it, but it does add a few things, or mainly one giant thing that I fucking hate. A new Big Daddy with a missile launcher starts spawning here, and I swear to God, those things are the most annoying things ever when playing on the hardest difficulty. The rockets aren't even that difficult to deal with. You can just sidestep them or use the telekinesis plasmid to send them back, but he also throws these little ball turrets that just tear you to pieces. I'll see him start to throw one of those out, and I get flashbacks to Reaper's Scythe from BO3. Now, you can also throw these back at him with the telekinesis plasmid, but almost every time I ran out of Eve, that motherfucker was tossing that thing in the air.
God can strike me down if I'm lying? That motherfucker's cheating! Take my word!
Other than that, this level is just about finding and killing Simon Wales and turning on the pump so we can enter Dionysus Park. And as for achievements, I got one for spending $2,000 at vending machines and another for killing Simon at the end of the level. After turning on the pumps in Siren's Alley, it removed all the water that was flooded in Dionysus Park. This was apparently once a super nice area in Rapture owned by Sophia Lamb, but somehow mysteriously flooded and killed everybody within it. So reverse gentrification. We quickly meet a guy named Stanley Poole that's been hiding out here. He tells us that he will turn the train system back on if we find and deal with all 3 of the little sisters. While going through this level, I was able to get an achievement for hacking 30 machines from a distance, killing 50 enemies with the use of security, and collecting a total of 600 Adam with the little sisters. After saving the 3rd little sister, Eleanor tells us that Stanley is the reason why Dionysus Park flooded and the reason why she was turned into a little sister in the first place. Learning this information gets us another achievement, and when we go to confront him, we are once again given the opportunity to kill or spare him. Since we're going for the 100%, we unfortunately just make him piss and shit his pants, and we get on the train. Finally, we have made it to Fontaine Futuristics. This area is looked over by a man named Gil Alexander, who has gone insane due to the overconsumption of Adam. He flies around in this little security drone that heavily resembles a Securitron from Fallout New Vegas. Our goal in this section is to find a way into Lamb's secret lab where she is hiding Eleanor. To do this, we need to go and collect 4 samples of plants that are filled with Adam in order to bait Gil out of hiding. While looking for these plants, I got the achievement Dealt with Every Little Sister after rescuing all 3 from this section, and fully upgraded a plasmid from purchasing a level 3 plasmid from the Gatherer's Garden machine. Once we find all the plants and battle a new type of Big Daddy,
Fast as fuck, boy.
Gil reveals himself as a giant fish creature in a test tube which is metal as hell, and using his DNA we're able to make a key to get into the secret lab. Also, Gil does ask you to put him out of his misery at the end of the level, but if we let him live, we get the achievement Savior alongside another for discovering the entrance to the Lamb's secret lab. The last 2 sections of the game are in Lamb's lab, so I'm just going to talk through them as if they were one. You start off by finding Eleanor trapped behind glass like a f***ing zoo animal, which is kind of strange. Then Sophia Lamb lore dumps telling us that the reason that we're alive is because we are psychologically connected, and if she dies, so do we. After fighting off some splicers, Lamb temporarily stops Eleanor's heart by smothering her with a pillow to subdue us. We pass out and wake up restrained in a different portion of the lab, but Eleanor sends a little sister to swap consciousness with us. Honestly, I missed the explanation of how this happened, but I guess for the time being, we'll play as a little sister. This mini section is actually kind of cool. It's very interesting to see the world of Rapture from the perspective of a little sister and see how it jumps back and forth between the 2 realities. While I was walking around in this mode, I picked up my 100th audio diary and finally got the Rapture Historian achievement. Please God, let there not be any in the 3rd game.
How do we tell him?
Don't tell him. That'll only make him feel worse.
After finding the pieces of Big Sister armor, we give them to Eleanor and she frees us from our restraints. Then once we're free, 3 achievements pop out of nowhere. one for reuniting with Eleanor, one for fully upgrading the number of plasmid slots, and another for owning all 11 types of plasmids. I'm assuming I got the 2 plasmid-related achievements here because I had previously bought all the slots and all the other base plasmids from a Gatherer's Garden machine. So when she gave me the final one to summon her, they all triggered at once. While all this is going on, it turns out that Lamb captured and turned Sinclair into an unstable Big Daddy. He can't control any of his actions, but begs us to kill him. And after he's dead, we loot a key to the next section of the lab off his body.
Rest in peace, Pop Smoke.
Our new goal is to gather all the little sisters before Lamb takes off in her escape pod. While doing this, I found the 14th and final weapon upgrade station and got the achievement for finding them all. Once we gather all the little sisters and fend off a wave of splicers, we take the escape pod to the surface. Then, after the final cutscene, the story and difficulty achievements pop. Now, I had no more than 5 minutes of bliss after I beat the game until I realized that I did not get the Research Master achievement for fully researching all enemies. Turns out I was a dick hair away from fully researching the Big Sister, so I had to go back to a previous save and get better research grades. Luckily, this didn't take long. I switched the difficulty to easy and sped through the last couple of levels to get the achievement. Okay, so this game has 2 different DLCs, and we'll be starting off with Minerva's Den. This is a small side story that builds off the lore of Rapture. It's relatively short, but adds quite a bit of interesting content like new weapons, enemies, and plasmids. There are 8 achievements in this DLC, with 5 of them being unmissable or story-related. I'll talk more about the other 3 as they come up, but thankfully there isn't an achievement related to difficulty, so I hit easy as fast as possible and started the DLC. You start off playing as a different Big Daddy named Sigma, when a guy named CM Porter asks you for help. Minerva's Den, while it sounds like a weird sex club, is the computing section of Rapture where Porter and a man named Reed Wall worked together to build a supercomputer called the Thinker. After a falling out, Reed took control over the machine, so Porter has us help him out to get it back. As we work our way through the first section of the DLC, we run into the new enemy, a Lancer Big Daddy. He can flashbang you and also has a new laser weapon that we can pick up and use. But when you kill one for the first time, you do get an achievement. Also, shortly after, I got an achievement for killing 30 enemies using traps. This is actually a base game achievement that I didn't realize I missed, so I'm glad the progress carried over. A little while later, we run into this funny-looking robot. This little guy right here is a vacuum bot that acts as our collectibles in the DLC. There is an achievement for finding and destroying all 10 of them found throughout Minerva's Den. And on top of looking out for these guys, we also need to make sure that we rescue or harvest all the little sisters because there is an achievement for dealing with all of them. After a couple side quests, we can move on to the operations room and get an achievement for doing so. Here we just keep pushing Reed back as we destroy all of his defenses until he's got nowhere else to run. He locks himself in the Thinker control room, and if you go in there, it triggers the final fight, so I made sure to get the rest of the achievements before going in there. In one of the rooms, there's a terminal with a game called Spitfire on it, and if you get in a score of 9,999, you get another achievement. I then dealt with all the little sisters and destroyed the vacuum bots to get those 2 achievements. After entering the control room, we get another achievement and start the fight with Reed. Now, this didn't take long or felt suspenseful in any way because I was playing on easy, but it also could have been the way his body flew in the air like a deflating balloon after I killed him. Then, after we leave Minerva's Den in a bathysphere, we get the final achievement in this DLC. Finally, we have made it to the last bit of content in the game, the Protector Trials. These are small challenge levels based on the Little Sister Atom collection in the base game. However, what's different here is that each trial has you protecting the Little Sister with a different assortment of weapons and plasmids. So for instance, in one level you could have 3 different weapons to choose from, and then in the next you could only have plasmids. Of the remaining 7 achievements, 3 of them are for earning stars awarded to you by completing the levels, and there's another one for earning an A rank on every trial. So we can get most of them for just completing them all and making sure to get an A, which isn't that hard. There's one for collecting 6 stars, another for 18, and then after completing them all, one for 36. And since I made sure to get an A on every trial, that achievement popped here as well. Other than those 4, you can get an achievement for collecting 100% of the atom during a single trial. This means not letting enemies get to the Little Sister at any point. Then another for collecting half of the total atom from the trials. This also isn't too difficult. If you're trying to get an A on every level, you'll just naturally get this at some point. And finally, one for completing all the bonus trials. These allow you to use all weapons and all plasmids and are really just for fun. And there it is, all 53 achievements for BioShock 2. It took me 14.5 hours to get them all, which is substantially less than the expected 24. That's most likely because I did it all in one playthrough and didn't spend any extra time to get all the audio diaries. This game is an absolute masterpiece through and through. I enjoyed the first one a lot, but BioShock 2 clears it in almost every way. After going through the first two games, it's slowly cementing itself as one of my favorite game franchises of all time, so I'm hoping the third one is good and doesn't leave me on a sour note. I'm worried about that not only because of how infamous the 100% is, but also because one of the main reasons I love this series is for Rapture's underwater aesthetic. But since the third one takes place in Colombia, which is just Cloud City, I'm a little weary of how it'll go. Anyway, thanks for watching, consider subscribing, I'll see you guys soon.